I am making a Dracozark deck profile. This deck has always been one of my favorites since Master Rule 3, but because of Master Rule 4, it kind of got killed. But the Master Rule 5, I realized it actually came back, so I put it together as soon as I realized that. And this is just one of my favorite decks just because of how stupid it can get if given the right cards. Because you don't really need enough time because going second, this deck can actually summon two Zarks in the same turn. Starting off with the main deck, play one copy of Performer Pal Guitar and Lizard Draw. These two are basically the pot of greeds because you never summon them to the main monster zone. You only ever put them in scale. You put if Retardal's pendulum ability as well as in the pendulum scale. If you activate a Performer Pal in the other scale, then you get a draw card. So you place Guitardal, then you place Lizard Draw. Then Lizard Draw has the ability of being able to self-destruct, while as a Performer Pal in the other scale, then let you draw another card. Then to finish off the Performer Pal engine, I also play 3 copies of Performer Pal Pendulum Sorcerer. Pendulum, Pendulum Sorcerer has the ability of when it's pendulum summoned to let you target up to 2 cards on the field, destroy them, and then add Performer Pals with different names after the number of cards you destroyed. Then I play 3 copies of Supreme King Dragon Darkworm. Darkworm has the ability of when it's in the graveyard, you can special summon it while you control no monsters. And if it's normal or special summoned, you can add your Supreme King Gate from your deck to your hand. Then I play 1 copy of Vector Pendulum, the Drake Overlord. It is a normal monster that has the pendulum effect of negating card effects of your opponent's pendulum zones. So if your opponent's playing pendulum, you can scale this. Now they can't use pendulum effects. Then I play 3 copies of Luster the Pendulum, the Draco Slayer. It can only be used for the special summoning of Draco Slayer monsters from the extra deck. But its pendulum ability says that lets you destroy the card in your other pendulum zone, so then add a card with the same name from your deck to your hand. So it just helps with furthering the amount of monsters you can pendulum summon. Then I play 1 copy of Lecter Pendulum. Lecter Pendulum has the ability, if it battles a pendulum monster, to destroy both this and the other monster. And the ability of negating your opponent's face-up pendulum monster effects while it's in the pendulum scale. Then I play 3 copies of Master Pendulum, the Draco Slayer. While its pendulum ability lets you just target 1 card in your pendulum zone and destroy it. And it is a normal monster besides that. But you can use it. The Draco Slayer engine has been used in Counter Fairy because you can use it to destroy other cards that let you get more stuff, but when you're ever using those abilities, it's usually because you're going to be furthering the amount of monsters you can pendulum summon. Then I play 3 copies of Supreme King Gate 0 and Supreme King Gate Infinity. Infinity has the pendulum effect of you can only pendulum summon if you control no monsters. But it has the other ability of while Supreme King Zark is in play, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls and gain life points equal to its attack. Supreme King Gate 0 has the pendulum ability of rather than saying you can't pendulum summon, it has the effect of you can destroy it and Infinity in your pendulum scales, so then let you add 1 fusion card from your deck to your hand. And Supreme King Gate 0 has the effect of while you control Supreme King Zark, while this card's in scale, you cannot take any damage. Which I found to be funny against Trickstars when they tried to make a comeback when Zark was played. It's just funny because they're like, why aren't you taking damage? 0, and then they just rage quit. Then I play 3 copies of Supreme King, Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon because if you go first, you can use this to search for any pendulum monster you want. Other than that, I only play it for nostalgia. Because it's one of the dragons that was used to summon Zark in the first place. Then I play 1 copy of Supreme King Dragon Odd Eyes. The only way we're ever summoning this monster in this deck is either if you tribute summon it, or if you summon it off of Zark's ability, which I will cover later. Moving on to spells, I play 1 copy of Foolish Burial to send Darkworm. 1 copy of Draco Faceoff, again to further the number of monsters you can pendulum summon. Pendulum Paradox, the exact same as Draco as the other one. Then I play 2 copies of Dragon Shrine, again to send Darkworm to the grave. It's also a Heartless per turn. 2 copies of Duelist Alliance. I only play 2 of this because it's a hard once return effect, but it lets you add any card from your deck to your hand that has Pendulum in the name, which is fun. Then I play 3 copies of Odd Eyes Fusion. This card is one of the 2 cards that's needed to summon 2 Zarks, because it lets you use it as a normal fusion card for the fusion summon of a dragon, or if you control no monsters and your opponent has 2 or more, it lets you fusion summon using 2 monsters from your extra deck. Now, if it didn't have that 2 cards from your extra deck, Zark would be so much stupider. Oh, you have 2 monsters. I have none. Fuse the 4 materials for Zark. Summon Zark. That just seems like it would be really funny, but I can see why it has that effect. And to finish off the spells, the funniest spell card that I ever realized works with Zark is Miracle Synchro Fusion. This card lets you fusion summon using your field or graveyard for a fusion monster that requires a synchro monster like Zark does. The whole point between Odd Eyes Fusion and Miracle Synchro Fusion is you do the Draco Slayer stuff, you summon the fusion one either first or second. Because you summon the fusion Draco Slayer, then you can't summon 2 Zarks, because the monster it summon cannot be used for a fusion summon. But you do that, by the end of the combo you have a Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, and Pendulum dragons in play. Use Odd Eyes Fusion, fuse them all, summon Zark, and then you activate Miracle Synchro Fusion. Fuse all of them from your graveyard, because the Xyz one will have another Dragon Pendulum monster as material. And then you use those, summon a second Zark, and then you smack your opponent in the face for 8,000 directly. And then to finish off the main deck, I play 1 copy of Supreme Rage. Supreme Rage, while you control Zark, lets you destroy every monster you control except for Zark. But for this effect to work, you have to destroy at least 1 monster. And then it lets you summon as many Supreme King Dragon monsters as possible from your hand, deck, graveyard, or extra deck. Which I just think is funny because you summon Zark, you bop your opponent, you go, oh no, I couldn't kill you. Activate this. Summon 4 to 5 dragons. Smack directly for game. This just seems like a really fun, out of nowhere OTK deck that I really like. Moving on to the extra deck, I play 3 copies of Supreme King Zark. In order to fusion summon this monster, it has to use 4 dragons that are a fusion, synchro, Xyz, and a pendulum. But on summon, it destroys every card on your opponent's side of the field. It cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects. And it has the ability, if it destroys an opponent's monster by battle, then you can special summon a Supreme King monster from your hand, deck, or extra deck, ignoring summoning conditions. And the only downside to Zark is it may be a pendulum monster, but it can't be pendulum summoned, which I think sucks. But that's because its destruction ability works whenever it's special summoned. I feel like it should have been if this card is fusion summoned and blow up everything, then it could probably be a pendulum monster. Because the only way you'd be able to pendulum summon it is with a scale 13. And the only scale 13 I know of requires you to have no monsters. Then I play 1 copy of Supreme King Dragon Starting Venom. I know this card is banned, I only play it for fun, but if I use this in a tournament, I replace it with something like Galaxy Satellite Dragon or Armalier the Star Leader Dragon. But that's just so that I have a Link monster so I can pendulum summon some more without having to pendulum summon them without having pendulum summon. Then I play 1 copy of Donster Power, the Mighty Draco Slayer. This card has the ability of being able to be contact fused by using 2 pendulum monsters, including 1 Draco Slayer pendulum. And it has the continuous ability of being able to protect your pendulum monsters and pendulum scales from being destroyed while it's face up on the field. And once per turn, being able to target a a Draco Slayer that's in your graveyard, special summon it, but it cannot be used for a fusion summon. That effect is why Dinosaur Power is summoned first or second. I usually summon it second. Then to finish off the fusion monsters I play 2 copies of Odd Eyes Vortex Dragon. Vortex Dragon has the ability of when it's fusion summoned, when it's special summoned, target 1 face-up attack position monster your opponent controls, return it to the hand. And if your opponent will activate a spell, trap, or monster effect, you can shuffle one pendulum monster from your face up from your extra deck back to the deck to negate the activation and destroy it. So I just think it's a really fun card, but it only requires an Odd Eyes monster and a pendulum monster, which is why Odd Eyes Fusion has the effect it does. So you can fuse a Synchro and a Xyz pendulum monster, summon this, that gives you 3 of the 4 materials for Zark. Then, for the Synchro monsters, I play 1 copy of Odd Eyes Meteor Burst Dragon. You never Synchro summon this, you only use it for Odd Eyes Fusion's effect from the extra deck. 1 Supreme King Dragon Clearwing. Again, you never summon this from your extra deck unless you're summoning it off of Zark or Supreme Rage. Then I play 1 copy of Ignister Prominence, the Blasting Draco Slayer. This card, I can see why it's at 1 and still at 1, because of how it lets you target a pendulum monster on the field or 1 card in either player's pendulum zone. So if you're facing pendulums, it can destroy an opponent's pendulum zone to then non-targeting shuffle back to the deck. But it also has the ability of being able to special summon a Draco Slayer from your deck, but it cannot be used for the Synchro summon of a monster. So that's why you want to summon either this one or the Xyz one last, so that you can use that monster it summons to summon Zark. And then, moving on to the Xyz monsters, I play 1 copy of Magister Paladin, the Ascending Draco Slayer. This monster lets you use 1 material to special summon a Draco Slayer from your extra deck, or face up from your extra deck, but it cannot be used for the Xyz summon of a monster. Then it has the ability of unsummon, where you can activate its effect, so that during the end phase, you can then add 1 pendulum monster from your deck to your hand. Which is really useful. I just wish it wasn't during the end phase. I wish it was when this card is special summon, add a pendulum monster. It would just make it a little bit better. Then I play 1 copy of Supreme King Dragon Dark Rebellion. You can summon this one, however, it's not very likely that you will. But again, it's just another monster that you can summon off of Zark. Then I play 1 Odd Eyes Absolute Dragon. You can potentially play or summon this, but usually don't want to because it's another thing you can use for our Vortex Dragon's Fusion Summon. Then to finish off the extra deck, I play 2 copies of Odd Eyes Rebellion Dragon. If you don't want to use Rebellion Dragon, or 2 of them, you can also use an Odd Eyes Raging Dragon, or literally any other pendulum monster. That's an extra deck card, but I just play these 2 because I just have them. So I figured, why not? But that is it for the Zark extra deck. So that is also it for the Zark deck. If you have any ideas of what I can do to improve the deck, feel free to comment below. Thanks for watching.